Hello students, and welcome back to another algebra video. You know what to do. Pause the video, try this problem in your notes, and then unpause it to do it with me. Okay, first thing we need to do is we need to get these lines in the form y equals mx plus b so that we can easily see what the slope is. Because remember, lines are parallel if they have the same slope, and lines are perpendicular if their slopes are negative reciprocals. So we're going to go through this a little bit quickly. If it goes too fast for you, go back and watch the last video so that you can see exactly how to solve these equations slower. Or you can change the playback speed of this video, whichever works for you. So to get y by itself, I need to subtract 2x. That gives me 6y equals negative 2x minus 3. Then I need to divide by 6 on both sides. This gives me y equals negative 1/3 x. Because negative 2/6, if I divide by 2 on the top and bottom, I get 1/3, negative 1/3. All right, and negative 3/6, that's negative 1/2. So the slope of our first line is negative 1/3. So if one of these other lines has a slope of 1/3, they will be parallel. The reciprocal of 1/3 is 3. And remember, one needs to be negative, one needs to be positive. So if one of the lines has a slope of 3, then they'll be perpendicular. So line B, we have y equals 3x minus 8. And in line B, m is 3, which means lines B and C, excuse me, A and B, lines A and B are perpendicular. Because, oh whoops, I don't want to put a box around the whole thing. Because their slopes are negative reciprocals. All right, line C, we're going to solve for y, which means we need to subtract 18x from both sides. So negative 6y equals negative 18x plus 9. Divide the negative 6 on both sides, and we have negative 18 divided by negative 6 is 3x minus a 9, or I should say plus, I suppose. 9 divided by negative 6. If I divide by 3 on the top and bottom, I get negative 3/2. So that's why instead of saying plus, I said minus, because plus negative 3/2 is the same thing as minus 3/2. Okay, which means that for line C, we have a slope of 3, which means lines A and C are perpendicular, and lines B and C are parallel. Ta-da! So, because 1/3 is the negative reciprocal of 3, that means that A is perpendicular to both B and C. And because B and C both have a slope of 3, it means that they are parallel. Awesome. Okay, let's move on to what we have for today. So, today we're going to continue with section 4.3, but like we mentioned in the last video, we're going to zoom in on writing equations of parallel lines. In the next video, we're going to talk about writing equations of perpendicular lines. But for today, our learning target is I remember what parallel lines are, and our success criteria is that you can write equations of parallel lines. So, what are parallel lines? And let's write equations of them. So, let's remind ourselves what are parallel lines and what makes two lines parallel. So, parallel lines are two lines that never intersect, just like this picture that we saw in the last video. And lines are parallel if and only if they have the same slope. So just like we saw in the entry task, they both need to have the same slope, just like they do in the example on the top right. Okay, wonderful. So now that we remember what parallel lines are and what makes lines parallel, the same slope, let's do our first example. So, writing an equation of a parallel line. This is our success criteria here. So we want to write an equation of the line that passes through the point 5, -4, and is parallel to y equals 2x plus 3. So, for a minute, let's show you what this looks like. 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to put this line on our graph. So the y-intercept is 3, and the slope is rise 2, run 1. And let me color code to make it easier for us. So we want to be parallel to this line. And we want to go through, the point 5, -4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, -1, 2, 3, 4. So, oh, whoops, let me do that in blue. We want to write an equation of the line that goes through the blue point and is parallel to the red line. So, something like that. Line should look something like that. We want it to be exactly parallel to the red line, and we want it to go through the blue point. So, what is the equation of this line? Now, you might be tempted to just look at the graph and say, I know that the slope has to be the same, and I can just find wherever it crosses the y-axis. But that can be harder than it seems, especially since this line doesn't even cross the y-axis on our graph, like how we've drawn it. So instead, what we're going to do is we're going to write, we know that the equation of a line is in the form y equals mx plus b. And if we are parallel, if these lines are supposed to be parallel, they need to have the same slope. I'm writing it in all caps because it's super important. Parallel lines have the same slope. So, if the slope of the red line is 2, the slope of our line needs to be 2. So, we have y equals 2x plus b. But what is the y-intercept? What is b? Well, you'll remember from section 4.1 part 3, you'll remember that I can plug in this point and I can find what the y-intercept is. So let's do that. 5 is x, negative 4 is y, and I'm going to plug these in to our equation. So I have negative 4 equals 2 times 5 plus b. So instead of y, we wrote negative 4, and instead of x, we wrote 5. Because on this line, we know that there is a point where x is 5 and y is negative 4. Okay, and now we can solve for b. So negative 4 equals 2 times 5 is 10 plus b. How do I get b by itself? Well, I subtract 10 from both sides of my equation, and negative 4 minus 10 is negative 14. Which means that I know y equals 2x. I need to have the same slope plus negative 14. Oh wait, but I don't need plus negative 14. I can just say minus 14. And there you have it. This is the equation of the line that goes through the point 54 and is parallel to the red line, y equals 2x plus 3. So let me take you back through, in case we went through that kind of fast, let me take you back through how we did that. We knew equation of a line, y equals mx plus b. Could we have used point slope form? I suppose we could have. Maybe that would have been easier. We totally could have done that if you wanted to. But y equals mx plus b is my favorite. So I default to y equals mx plus b. But we knew the line should be in this form, and we knew that we need to have the same slope. If we are parallel, we must have the same slope. So I knew that m needs to be 2. So we did that. We changed m to 2, and then we said, oh great, all we need to do is find b. And in order to find out what b was, we needed to plug in the point 5, negative 4. X is 5, y is negative 4, and we plugged those numbers in to our y equals 2x plus b. And then we could use that to solve for b. All right, and then once we had b, we just put it in with our m. Y equals 2x minus 14. Cool. Let's check and see if we were correct. Use slope-intercept form. Okay, they did that too. And then, yeah, solve for b. Y equals 2x minus 14. Now look, right behind my head, it says another way. You can also use point slope form to write an equation of the line. And if you transform it to slope-intercept form, you'll notice that you get exactly what we got. So yay, awesome, fantastic. Okay, what we're going to do next is I want to give you an opportunity to try this on your own. So this problem is exactly like the problem that we just did. What I want you to do is pause the video and try this problem on your own. Even if you're like, I don't know how to do this problem on my own. I was kind of confused by the last example you did. Pause the video and try something. See what you can do. And then unpause the video and we'll do it. So pause the video and you try this problem. Unpause it, and here we go. All right, an equation of the line that passes through negative 6, 2, and is parallel to the line y equals x minus 4. Remember, parallel means that we have the same slope. the same slope. So if I want to be parallel to y equals x minus 4, what is m? Well, right in front of every x is an imaginary 1. So the slope of this line is 1, which means the slope of our line needs to also be 1. But remember, we don't have to write 1x. We can just write x plus b, because it's implied that there's a 1 in front of the x. Okay, now I need to pass through the point -6, 2. So that means that -6 is the x coordinate, -2 is the y coordinate, and I'm going to plug them in to my equation. Y is 2 equals x is -6 plus b. And if I add 6 to both sides, that gets the b all by itself. And it is equal to 2 plus 6, which is 8. So now I can plug that in, and I get y equals x plus 8. Ta-da! If that's what you got, awesome. Yay, you are so ready to tackle your homework. And if you didn't get this, maybe ask a teacher what went wrong. Or if you can, look at my steps and compare them to yours and see where you went wrong, if you can find the mistake on your own, it grows your brain even more. But there's nothing wrong with asking a teacher or a friend for help. Okay. That is all I have for you today. Remember, in the next video, we're going to write equations of perpendicular lines. But for today, we just talked about parallel lines. So, of course, what I'd like you to do now is rate yourself. On a scale of 1 to 3, how do you feel about parallel lines and writing equations of parallel lines? Are you super confused? Are you somewhere in the middle, or are you feeling awesome? And if you are not feeling so great, talk to a teacher, talk to a friend, talk to your parents. If you're somewhere in between, good time to start the homework. And if you are feeling great, check in with your friends and see if they need any help with their homework. And remember that there is nothing wrong with asking questions. Teachers love questions. At least this one does. So, get your questions answered if you have them. And here are some practice problems that you can do to practice the skills that you have learned in this video. So these problems are exactly like the ones that we did in this video. And 25 is a little bit different. We didn't do a problem like example, or excuse me, we didn't do an example like problem 25, but you can use what we learned in this video to answer number 25. So try those if you'd like, but of course do the homework that your teacher assigns as well. And per the usual, let's end our lesson with a launch, shall we? So today's launch comes from Beyonce, and she says, if everything was perfect, you would never learn. And you would never grow. We don't want to never learn and never grow, right? Are you happy with the person you are right now? Maybe you are, but odds are you want to learn new things and you want to grow. And if you're like, no, I'm fine, I don't need to learn anything, school is dumb, well, you probably want to learn how to be a better friend. You probably want to learn how to communicate better. You probably want to grow out of the anger that you find yourself in so often right now, or something like that. So even outside of school, if everything were perfect, if your life, if school, if your friendships, your family, if it were perfect, you would never learn and you would never grow. So if you ever find yourself being unhappy because life isn't perfect, that's a good thing. Life is never going to be perfect, and that's a good thing. Because when life isn't perfect, when your friends aren't perfect, when your boyfriend or your significant other or your partner isn't perfect, that's a good thing. Because it gives you opportunities to learn and grow. And that's what life is all about, right? Learning and growing and becoming a better version of yourself. So, don't stress if life isn't perfect. Use it as an opportunity to learn and grow and become a better version of yourself. So, that is my launch for you today. Take it with you as you go throughout your day. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and thanks for being here. Thanks for watching. Bye.